I'm Liam Murray, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to cook arroz con palo, or chicken and rice. This is both nutritious and delicious, so I hope you enjoy. The first step is to collect all of your ingredients. To do so, tell your mother to go buy groceries and threaten to burn all of the family photos if she doesn't. In order to document your cooking, find and kidnap someone to make them your cameraman. Next, you want to prepare the rice in advance. The recipe calls for only 1 cup. Before cooking, make sure to thoroughly rinse the rice. As you can see in this video, the water is murky, and you want to keep rinsing it over and over again until the water gets much clearer. It doesn't have to be perfect, just clean.
Done.
Alright, so once we have all of our materials gathered here, we can start cooking. So we have 4 chicken breasts, peppers, onions, seasonings, and cans. So the first thing that you want to do is cover this with saran wrap and beat it senselessly with a hammer, because that softens up the meat, makes it more tender and palatable. I did this off camera because time constraints, but if you look closely, you can see where I smashed it with a hammer to make it softer and more tasty. Anyways, the next step is to cut these into 4-inch strips, so we're going to be doing that. When you're working with meat like this, you want to make sure to clean off your hands first, which I did right before off camera. And if you have long hair, tie it up. My hair's not long anymore because my barber's an idiot, so it's fine like this. Make sure you get you grab a cutting board, and that cutting board you don't use for vegetables, just meats, because salmonella isn't fun, and if you get it, you're gonna have a not good time. Okay, so just grab a knife and get cutting. I'm gonna do this time lapse.
Did you just cut yourself immediately?
Nope. Well, seeing as that I almost just cut myself with a knife on camera, we're going to talk about kitchen safety. So when you're cutting the chicken like this, just make sure you leave enough room between your thumb and the knife. Having the thumb somewhat close to the knife is necessary to hold it in place, but just be careful. I didn't cut myself right there, but I came pretty close, and that's kind of why I jumped. Anyways, if you look in the background of the shot, I have my kitchen knives in a wooden container. This is necessary because it keeps them out of the reach of children and keeps them cleaner. Remember, as I said earlier, keep long hair tied back if you have long hair, avoid dangling jewelry, and have pot holders nearby. Pot holders aren't necessary for cutting chicken, but when you use an open flame later on, you're going to need them. I had my chicken laid out and ready earlier, but I only had it out for around 10 minutes because raw chicken can spoil quickly, and if it's spoiled, it's not safe to eat, so make sure you refrigerate all raw meat, fish, and dairy products. Wipe all spills immediately, and make sure to separate raw meat from poultry wherever you store them. Okay, now that we have the chicken cut up into 1 strips, we now just need to season it with salt, pepper, and paprika. But, oopsie, our hand is all gooey now from the chicken. So we're going to have to moisten over to the sink and use both soap and water. Leaving raw food in your hands can lead to a buildup in bacteria on your hands, and if you're touching other foods afterwards, washing your hands is absolutely necessary and very dangerous if you don't. So the instructions say to do a teaspoon of salt, pepper, and paprika. But we don't have the exact amount of chicken that they recommended because they said 4 pieces, and 4 pieces is quite open-ended. So we're just going to eyeball this rather than going by a set number. Also, I should note, the second step is to heat oil and cook it. I'm heating the oil in advance so it's nice and hot for when I... Alright, let's get seasoning. It's much better to eyeball these measurements than going by a certain number, because the instructions said 4 pieces of chicken, so you need a lot of seasoning for 4 big pieces, or a little for 4 small pieces.
This is like wildly eyeballed.
What else would it be?
I don't know.
Parsley.
I feel like you should mix it or something. Like make sure you're covering all the sides or whatever.
Ignore the side comments. The seasoning was mixed evenly when you put it in the pan later. So that's about right. Hopefully. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to a nice oily pan and we're going to cook the chicken on the oily pan. So to cook the chicken on the oily pan, you're going to want to cook it for about 10 minutes. Make sure it's the right temperature because raw chicken in your mouth does not taste good and raw chicken in your stomach does not feel good. So be careful. As I just mentioned that when you're using a open-top burner like this, you want to have a fire extinguisher nearby. So if you look right behind you, that cabinet right there is a fire extinguisher, I promise. Okay. the approximate cook time for this chicken is about 10 minutes. So, cook it for about 10 minutes, but make sure it's brown on all sides until it cooks through. Do it for a bit more time after, do it for a bit less if it's too early. 10 minutes later, our chicken is complete. So now that our chicken is done, cooked and in the pan, I recommend you use a thermometer to check the temperature before you finish, but it's neither here nor there. You're going to transfer it over to a separate plate using the power of a spatula. I didn't record myself doing so, but you want to make sure you watch the spatula between cooking the chicken. Because if you touch a piece of cooked chicken with a spatula covered in raw chicken, it could still, in fact, taint the cooked one. So just be careful with that.
Nice.
Now that our skillet is empty, I'm going to leave some of the oils behind for the sake of cooking. You're going to turn the heat back on. And you're going to add your peppers and onions. First peppers.
Maybe don't add them like that.
Then onions. And more onions, because 3/4 of a cup. Once you have the onions on, the instructions say to use 1.5 teaspoons of garlic. We're going to use 1/2 teaspoon because this is condensed and we don't want it to be garlic ball. We're going to eyeball it.
Yeah, just throw some of that in there. Fine, probably.
Probably fine.
Don't overdo it.
Okay. Now let this cook for around 5 minutes. Approximately 5 minutes have elapsed, so our onions and peppers are complete. Next we have to add rice. So take the rice from here. This is hot, so you're going to want to make sure that you use gloves. The rice roll out. Get a rice spoon. And add the rice to the Add the rice to the onions and peppers, and then cook for around 2 minutes. Okay, so the rice has been cooking for 2 minutes, and now we're going to add the remaining ingredients besides the chicken. So that is a full can of chicken broth and a few tomatoes first. Now, the tool you're going to need is a can opener, unless they're the peel cans, but these aren't, so we're going to can openerize these. I didn't record myself doing so, but I mixed the rice around while I was cooking. Pour the full thing in. The website didn't specify whether to strain the tomatoes or not before you put them in the pan, so I didn't, and it turned out well. So don't strain the tomatoes, although if you do, it's probably okay. Did you strain these first?
Not the chicken broth, but maybe that one.
Okay.
Wait, hang on. I don't know. You could probably just put it in.
And pour the full thing of tomatoes. Once you've done that, you just have some seasoning left, which would be a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, some paprika, and a bit of white wine and saffron. I didn't have any saffron, and we're not doing white wine, because I'm underage. Underage drinking is dangerous. Youth who drink alcohol are more likely to experience school problems, social problems, legal problems, physical problems, unwanted, unplanned, or unprotected sexual activity, disruption of normal growth or sexual development, an increased risk of physical and sexual violence, an increased risk of suicide and homicide, alcohol-related vehicle motor crashes, memory problems, and misuse of other substances. Changes in the brain development that may have lifelong effects, and alcohol poisoning. Underage drinking is associated with adult drinking, so it's prohibiting alcohol sales to minors. And I didn't want to get saffron because it was expensive. Okay, so we're going to add some paprika, some salt, some pepper, and that's it. Now we're going to mix this all together and let it simmer for 20 minutes. 20 minutes has elapsed. The chicken broth and most of the tomato juice has been evaporated, so it's nice, dry, and succulent looking. So just add the chicken back into it. Season with a bit more parsley. Mix it up, and you're ready to serve. Bon appetit! once you're done cooking, within an hour after finishing cooking the meal, make sure to store it in a container like this and put it in your fridge. Make sure to refrigerate your food after no more than 2 hours of it being left in room temperature. If you leave it for any longer, it's been spoiled and you can't eat it. And when you put it in the fridge, make sure your fridge is set to around 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Too hot, it'll go bad. Too cold, it could freeze. Thanks for watching, and enjoy.